This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
We are in the first week of January, folks. Welcome to 2020, bitches. Let's do this.
Came in
hard.
Hot and hard, heavy and woof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But dating related,
Yes.
did you guys see the Sleeping Beauty proposal on the internet?
Yes.
I heard about it.
Dude, Cassie wants to crawl out of her skin and die for something like
hate it.
that.
It's
if I'm going to
a
propose to you, I
lot.
would never think that
I
be
will
something
say,
you'd like.
I think it's a lot. They seem happy and good for them. For me, I'm just like, Jesus.
Was it in a movie theater? I didn't see the
yes.
thing. I didn't watch it.
So I guess her favorite Disney movie is Sleeping Beauty.
Which is amazing.
Well, it says everything you need to know about her.
It's an odd choice, in my opinion.
Oh,
But
it's that weird like deco animation
It's-
style
the
that they were
animation's
doing for a
great.
while, which is really.
I like the
And
animation.
you got Maleficent in
You
it.
do, you
Come
do.
on.
It's true. I love Maleficent.
It's true.
Mhm.
My favorite.
But so I guess she thought that they were going to a screening of it. So they went to the theater and they were watching the movie. And then like halfway through the movie, it kind of changes where the animation looks the same, but Sleeping Beauty now looks like her. Like she's got brown skin and brown hair. And then the prince looks like her boyfriend. And they do this whole thing where like he throws the prince on screen, like throws a ring box, and then her boyfriend in the audience catches it
No way.
and proposes to her.
No.
And so he spent
That's
6 months working with
Yeah.
this Australian animator to recreate the type of art that was happening in the movie
Holy
to do
shit.
this. And then she thought that they were I guess they were in the front or something where they didn't have people directly in front of them or beside them because she thought that this was just a regular screening, but actually it was a private screening with all of their friends and family.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm getting like teary. 'Cause
That's
here's
so
the
sweet.
thing.
And you thought I'd hate it.
If
I think
you're,
it's cute.
If you're
That's
out,
cute.
If you're out there dating, because I spent 2 years dating like random people who wouldn't even like text you back.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Totally.
people, and you and I have talked about this, Cassie. People worth your time will make the effort.
Yes,
they will
will.
make the effort to show up. And the other thing too is you have to believe that you are worth that effort. 'Cause
Yeah.
it took me 2 years to realize that I'm
Mm-hmm.
worth the effort. I'm worth being nice to. And that's, we just talked about this. Like, it's my very first guy that I'm dating who I'm like, he's legitimately a nice person. And it's only because after 38 years of being on this planet, I finally feel like I'm somebody that's worth being treated well and worth being nice to. Somebody that's going to make an effort like that. I mean, I think 10 years ago, I would have been like, ugh, like,
Right.
but that was my own, not
And
feeling I was
self-consciousness.
worth someone taking 6 fucking months and doing that. But it's beautiful.
That's so
I love
cool.
it.
That's wildly cool.
So yeah,
It is cool. I mean,
That's rad.
I feel like the most cynical one at the table right now because I am like, it's so much.
I don't know if I'd want it for me,
I
but
feel
I
like
think
it's-
no,
it's
right.
a lot for me. I don't want
yeah,
a
it
public
feels very, very
proposal at all.
It feels very, very extra, but they seem very happy.
There you go.
And
Did she
so
say
I'm just
yes?
like, yes. She
After
said
that
yes.
much time, would you be like,
Wow.
Oh my
What
God,
if
what if she said no? That would make me wonder what kind of weird shit's going on in that relationship if he felt secure enough to 6 months in advance plan this whole thing and she was
she's
like,
like,
nah.
nah.
Yeah. Nah. But it is so it is beautiful because it's who they are, clearly.
Right.
And it's like good for them. I'm really happy for them. And every other boyfriend who is thinking about proposing to his girlfriend is just like, oh fuck.
You,
No, but
dude.
that's the thing. You hit the nail on the head. It
is.
works for
For
them.
them.
He
Mhm.
spent all that time planning because it works for him. Dude, freaking dude face was talking about Valentine's Day,
That's cute.
like asking me like, oh, do you celebrate it? What do you want to do? Kind of thing. And I'm like, that's next month. But just somebody
Yeah,
that
it's only next
if
month,
somebody
girl.
if somebody cares,
Yeah.
they care.
Yeah.
It's obvious that they care. And
Well, I think that's the thing with like Chris and I too. It's like we both aren't much for celebrating like holidays and stuff. So I can see where like, but to me, it says that he cares to not do stuff, like to not go out of our way to do
Right.
things when it's like, you know what I mean? Like what I don't like is the ambushing of someone who's like, oh, you don't like to celebrate holidays? Well, guess what? I still got you a card and flowers and this and that. And it's like you feel ambushed because to me, I didn't prepare anything for you and I am a
Now I feel bad.
giver. I love to give gifts.
Yeah.
So I hate that ambush.
It's really about knowing your partner because like I was with somebody for years who like birthdays are a big deal to me. Like birthdays are a big deal to me. And for years would like not plan anything or like not do anything.
Wow.
And it was it would hurt me not because I didn't get a gift or anything, but because like you don't know me well enough to know that like this is something that matters to
That's
me.
important.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like that hurts my feelings that after this many like years together and all this time together that you don't know me well enough to know that.
I feel the same way because
Yeah.
my thing is anniversaries. Like that it matters to me, like a year. I'm not talking like I celebrate monthly or whatever, but like an anniversary to mark a year. It's the same way I feel about like New Year's. I'm like, oh my gosh, we like had this year together.
Yeah.
I want to celebrate us.
I do get
kind of
excited
thing.
about New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah. And so having been with somebody that like it does not find anniversaries to be a big deal, always forgets them, and
then it feels very selfish because it's just like because it doesn't matter to you, you don't care that it matters to me.
Yeah. When you know it matters to me, it's just like then you're saying like my feelings don't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I think anniversaries are important.
Yeah.
Like you said, like anniversaries and like you said, like celebrating a year, like those are like feel milestone-y to me.
Yeah.
Whereas like a Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day
or,
is so
you know.
arbitrary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why I said I'm like, I'm not gonna go and waste like a bunch of money or whatever.
No.
It's just not the person that I am.
Yeah, we
I
don't
don't
really
need-
celebrate Valentine's Day either.
So
like not really.
we're just gonna make dinner together at
Yeah.
home, So oh hey, and this is My Worst Date podcast. I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have the ghostiest of ghosting stories I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
Okay.
Dude, I still have been thinking about the past few weeks, those stories that we had about people that went on dates with like, they're like,
Yeah, and
With
they were
ghosts.
never
Exist.
seen again.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one knows who they are.
it's just like, how does the
Dude,
that work?
yeah, speaking of that, I don't want to hijack your story. So you go first and then I'll tell you what I was going to say.
Okay. So I found this so we'd shared a story from Reddit. This, that girl had written me back. And then through another story that she like shared with me, I found this, site called Ask a Manager. And it was a story that's on there and it's an advice thing, like Ask a Manager.
Okay.
And, this is from like 2017. A reader writes, I was hoping you would be able to help me with a conundrum I got myself into. I have been an expat since graduating and have been moving a lot. More than a decade ago, when I was still young, I was in a relationship with a woman, Sylvia, in a country where we both lived. Sylvia wanted to settle down, but I was not ready to commit so young. We clearly had different expectations from the relationship. I did not know what to do, and well, I ghosted her over the 2 years together. Living
Ooh,
together.
No, I'm
Over
sorry.
the
Ghosted
Christmas-
after 2
Listen,
years.
Moved
over
in.
the Christmas break while she was visiting her family, I simply moved out and left the country. I took advantage of the fact that I accepted a job in another country and did not tell her about it. I simply wanted to avoid being entangled in a breakup drama. Sylvia was rather emotional, really became obsessed with the relationship. Fuck you. Oh, tracked me down, even causing various scenes with my parents and friends. Yeah, because what the fuck? You come home from Christmas break?
That makes
After
me
2
furious.
fucking years, and you don't understand why she wants some fucking closure.
And then
if
had
you
the
want to do a
gall to call it
avoid
obsessed.
drama, you fucking nut up and fucking break up.
Yeah.
Because of course, if someone did that to me, like it literally, my fucking head would explode.
Right. You just
You're
moved out
living
because
with some.
You don't. You
Well, you know,
there is
Billy
no
Bob
closure.
Thornton did that to Laura Dern. Yeah, because she
Oh,
was
that's right.
she
I
was
did hear about
out
that.
filming a movie.
That's right.
They were together for 5 years. They
Yeah.
lived together. She was out filming a movie. She comes back, all her shit's gone, and Angelina Jolie's living in her house.
Could you fuck?
Like,
So,
and how dare he try
There's
and make
more.
her sound like she's crazy?
Oh, you
you
gaslighting.
motherfucker! 2
I
years
know.
together.
2 fucking years.
and then living together, you just moved out, didn't tell her, just so she comes home from Christmas vacation, all your shit's gone.
Right.
I would be like, did he die? Like, what happened? Was he kidnapped?
Yeah.
And you're gonna
No
be like,
explanation,
no
nothing.
explanation. Move to another fucking country. Fuck you. Anyhow, fast forward
Garbage.
to now. I now work as a math teacher in an international school. I have been in other relationships since. So Sylvia is sort of forgotten history, really. 2
What
years
a
together,
piece of
forgotten
shit!
fucking history.
Oh my god, I'm so mad.
I know.
Sadly, till
I'm
now,
shaking right
This
now.
week, I learned that our fantastic school director suddenly resigned due to a serious family situation and had to move back to her home country over the summer. That school had to replace her. We are getting a new director. I read the bio of the new boss and Googled her and was shocked to find that it's Sylvia.
Oh,
we have
karma,
not been
bitch!
in touch
Karma, bitch!
and do not have any mutual friends anymore. I am not a big fan of social media and had no idea what she'd been up to since the unpleasant situation, motherfucker.
Oh my
Okay,
God,
so
I love this.
Somebody needs to set this man on fire.
So, yes. Well, so the whole point of this is she's saying, do you have any suggestions for me on how to handle it and what should I do? I understand that this would not have happened if I did not ghost her back then, but I cannot do anything about it now. I gathered from the comments that readers usually have a go on people like me for, quote, bad behavior. But I am really looking for constructive comments, how to deal with this situation.
I want to throw my microphone. Bad behavior.
AskManager.org says, oof. I wrote back and asked, how long were you in the relationship with her? He replied with, we were together for 3 years, lived together for 2 of those years. Oh my God.
What a trash human.
There's nothing you can say to him because just listening to
He's
the way that
oblivious.
he
Oh, yeah.
described the situation and then furthermore was like, I don't need you to blah, blah, blah. Like, just tell me, like, there's nothing you can say to get through to somebody like that who is obviously such a narcissist, such
Yes.
a gaslighting piece of shit
Yep.
that he doesn't grasp the magnitude. He doesn't have the empathy. Obviously,
He's actually a scary person
He's
because
a scary
anybody
person. He's a
who,
fucking sociopath.
Yeah, anybody who cannot see why this is a problem, like why what they did was so wrong, and
So
clearly
wrong.
puts
So
all of the onus like on the other person, like all of the like
Can't believe she was
responsibility.
so upset.
So upset.
About
She's
it.
crazy.
So upset that
Oh.
she caused a scene with my parents. I would too, because if I came home from a trip and Chris was gone, I'd be like,
I would have called the
Been
cops.
dating for 3 fucking years.
I'd
would
be like, shit, what happened?
What happened to him? Right? Like, wouldn't you put like so much on her as well? You couldn't have even left a fucking note to let her know what
this
happened.
Guy's a sociopath. The
3 fucking years
the
together.
fact that he could date and
Feel nothing.
and just bounce. That person's a scary person. Legitimately,
Yeah.
scary. Fucking wolf in sheep's clothing.
I hope that
Wow.
that person did you ever there was a book and then there was like a thing that was put on like YouTube that I watched. It was called like Snakes in Suits, about like psychopaths and how like so many psychopaths go on to be like really like successful like CEOs and things like that. That's that guy.
President.
It's a fucking
Yeah, for sure.
snake in a suit. I hope he never dates anybody ever again. Everybody be wary of that motherfucker. Like,
Can you fucking imagine?
I can't.
I
Dude,
literally cannot imagine this woman. It blows my fucking mind. You go home for Christmas
yeah.
with your family and you come back. I just can't imagine, because what she literally walks into is an apartment with all his shit gone and him gone.
Yeah.
And no explanation.
Yeah, I at the end of the day, she dodged a bullet because, like, thank God you didn't have to be stuck in a relationship with a gaslighting sociopath.
Yeah, because
Right.
obviously, if she'd been with him for 3 years, it sounds like this would have been like everything's her
Abusive.
fault.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he
Like, 'cause he's
sounds like trash.
Clearly not able. And to go on a public forum, like, sir, do you not know the internet? You're going to get ripped to fucking shreds.
I need
The fact that
you
he
to
put
send.
bad behavior in quotation marks, like it was like,
maybe it wasn't so great.
I know people think this is bad behavior. You know, he really is downplaying entirely.
Absolutely. I mean, and
what he's done.
clearly, like, if you had any idea,
amount of emotional trauma that
Right.
he inflicted
right,
on that
you won't be
poor
able to
girl.
trust anybody ever again. You know what I mean? And like, the fact that he felt secure enough to put that on the internet makes me think that, yeah, he has absolutely no frame of reference to how terrible what he did actually was.
I mean, yeah, being on the dating scene, like getting ghosted hurts, even if you don't like know
It
somebody.
was a month.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, it bums you out. It hurts.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, you know, I have my like, hey, this isn't a thing, you know.
Sure.
This
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
work
look, it would have been
because
shitty.
It hurts people.
It would have been shitty if he had left a letter. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been shitty, but at
Right.
least she would know what
Exactly.
happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least if he sent her a text, if he left a Post-it, since we were talking about Sex in the City, you know what I mean? Like,
if he'd burgered her.
yeah, if it's bad, that's bad.
Yeah.
You should be like, you should be able to talk to somebody in person. They deserve that from you. They
Yes.
deserve that kind of closure. But at least she would know. Like, doing nothing, just disappearing out of her life like that is such a mind fuck. You'd feel like you were in a fucking Black Mirror episode.
Right.
God.
Right?
And also, like, what a fucking coward.
Yes.
Oh, are you afraid of conversation? Are you afraid
And you
of
didn't
your
think-
words and your feelings?
This is when I feel like karma is real, because I'm like, oh, she's your boss.
She's
Oh, I
boss
love
now.
it. And you know what?
Sylvia, like, I want to know your master plan, because I guarantee you,
Well, this
she
was
knows
2 years
that-
ago. So
yeah.
please.
Oh my God, I want to know.
I want to know everything.
I need to follow up. Yeah, I need to know what happened there.
Everything.
Yeah, and to ask for advice on that, like, to this day, you can't be adult enough to
Yeah.
go and fucking talk to her,
Yeah.
because now you have to. You either have to, or you have to, like, quit.
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet
he quits.
I bet he
Like, well,
ghosted
that
again.
was
fucking
part of
I
motherfucker.
bet he ghosted again.
Part of it that I didn't read was that he haven't hit, at time wise he wouldn't be able to find another job. He's not going to be able to get out of this, basically, and that's why he wants her
honey.
advice.
I have to
Fuck
know an update.
You all day.
Send me the thing. We had to Captain Snoopy Pants and find out. Like, I need to follow up on that story. 'Cause
Someone
that's
on Reddit
fucking
probably knows what happened.
wild.
Yeah.
It's from askthemanager.org.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I
It was
bet
an
you this
article.
story has been shared on, like,
well, it was shared. I found it on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
It was shared, but I was like, whoa.
That is, you're right. That is the Mount Everest of ghosting stories.
No
that's
shit.
deeply upsetting.
3 years.
So
Fuck you. Oh,
this
I'm
isn't
sorry.
a ghosting story that, like relationship wise, but I do feel like I need to talk to you guys about it, because there was no way for me to work this into like a Crazy in Love or whatever. But I was, when I was looking for something to do for my Crazy in Love, this story came up, and I was like, this is the scariest thing
Oh no.
I've ever heard.
Oh no.
I've ever heard.
Shit.
So there's this house in Westfield, New Jersey, and like, okay, so the house was built in 1905. It was remodeled in 2014, and it has like, it's gorgeous. It's got like 6 bedrooms, you know, multiple fireplaces. So this couple and their children moved into this house in 2014. They spent $1 million to buy this house and move into it in New Jersey. And shortly after they purchased the house, the family began receiving letters.
Oh, I know this story. Keep going.
Can you fucking imagine? They started receiving letters claiming to be from somebody who was watching the house.
Nope.
Yes, and they said that they'd been watching it for decades, and that before them, their father watched the house in the 60s, their grandfather watched the house in the 30s, and had been monitoring.
Bye, bitch. That's
But they just dumped $1 million into this house. And so the first letter asked, why are you here? I will find out. And every letter was signed The Watcher. And after he claimed that he was keeping an eye on the house. He was sending them letters. He was saying, all the windows and doors allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. He made references to their children and he threatened them. And he said, now I will watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again. Talking about their kids.
Listen, 911. I'm on the phone with my realtor. I want to speak to the last tenants of this house or the last owners.
Oh, yes. So, yes. Okay. So,
because I need to know every goddamn thing.
He wrote them and claimed that he knew all their names now and said that he would be calling the children into the woods by their names. And
what the Dexter ass fucking killer shit. God
one letter insinuated that there were things in the walls. He wrote, have they found, and this is how he wrote to them, which is also creepy because he said, have they found what is in the walls yet? In time they will. Like talking to them.
Yeah.
Calling them they. Have they found all the secrets this house holds? So they filed a civil suit against the previous owners.
Yes,
because
for not disclosing. Yeah, because absolutely.
They claimed that the previous owners had been receiving letters as well and knew that there was someone stalking the house and failed to disclose this to them.
Yeah.
And it caused them emotional distress, but a judge threw out the case.
You got me fucked up, dude.
Yes.
That person.
Yes.
That's wild ass shit.
Right.
Like, I get it. Like, oh my God.
So they stayed in the house for 3 years and finally left in 2017, and the house is still on the market. They're never going to be able to fucking sell it. It's just like...
what?
And it's unsolved. Like, the police have tried to figure out. It's got to be someone in the vicinity. It's got to be some of
nearby.
the neighbors or something.
How? Like, because you can put up cameras. Like, how did they never find who was leaving these letters? Like, how is that fucking possible?
Right. Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Dude, you have to look into the story because there's a couple really good in-depth articles about it, and it's bone chilling. I can't even imagine you have fucking children and you get a letter like that in the mail.
Consistent letters.
Yeah,
consistent letters.
multiple.
And the way they're worded.
Okay, but here's my thing. What if follow me here.
Okay.
What if you treat this like Pete Davidson.
Okay.
And you'd get the letters and you just throw it in the trash. Oh, okay. Huh?
But could that make this person escalate? Because they're like, oh, well, they think I'm not serious.
No, but then you wouldn't even know because you threw it away. Huh? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, but the stalker would know. So, like, what if he escalated to doing something actually physically violent?
Because you weren't paying attention.
Because what he wants is attention, clearly. Like, he wants you to be scared.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what if you don't react with fear?
But then what if he escalates to make you afraid by entering your home or actually physically harming you in some way?
I feel this very Pete Davidson thing is going to be how I react to scary shit in the future.
It's nice to know you, Cassie.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I would. It's a nice idea, but practically I don't think I would actually be able to, like, I don't know, man. You got kids. You got to go to the cops. You got to, like, try and catch this person. Like,
yeah, because for all the times that, like, you know, that's like how every, like, true crime story starts is like, oh, they didn't think it was a big deal or they didn't take it seriously or whatever. Or in horror movie. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, this is fine. This is totally.
It's usually the wife being like, oh, babe, I'm concerned. And the husband being like,
you're
it's
overreacting.
Fine. Yeah, exactly.
Gaslighting.
You're overreacting.
Calm down.
Wow. In the history of calming down.
Yeah.
I know.
And then we get to the middle of Act 2 and he's like, you may have been right.
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock.
By then it's too late. Yeah, but I read that story and I was like, I can't. It's not a Crazy in Love in any way. But it's the most. There are a few things that would your home like something that's you would never feel at ease ever. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd have the
terrifying
most blackout curtains you've ever seen.
Blackout curtains, security systems on all the doors
like
and windows.
Jodie Foster panic room that shit.
Yeah, this house is about to be Fort Knox. You're putting up a big fucking like bulletproof fence around this house.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
But $1 million, you'd sunk $1 million into this home, like, and this type of home, like that was supposed to be a forever home. Like you look at it and like that's a forever home.
That person that sold him to that's a piece of shit. That person that sold it. That's fucked up.
I absolutely agree with you, but also, how were they supposed to get out from underneath that house?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because financially they're sunk. They can't stay there.
fucking
Either.
fire insurance and burn it down, burn it to the ground. You watching this house? Watch it burn, motherfucker.
Yeah. Dude. Right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Don't get mad, get even.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
many yikes.
Yeah, so many. Yikes. Who are we fuck, marry, killing this week? What should we do with an opening like that, man?
Wow.
That
Wowie,
opening
wow,
was-
wow. We got the fucking ghost dude. We've got the Watcher.
You got the Disney proposal.
And you
Yeah.
got Disney proposal.
We could do princesses.
Yeah, we could do Disney princess.
Disney
princess.
princesses.
Either
or
one.
princess.
Yeah.
I like princess.
Princess.
I just
Okay,
want
we got-
Aladdin in there.
We've got Aladdin.
Aladdin, I already told you guys on one of our very first episodes, was my cartoon crush.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
We've got
Charming.
Prince Charming.
Charming, Philip.
The Beast.
You got the Beast.
Ugh, he's the worst.
Hey, he's got rage issues.
He really does. He's just like a little fucking tantrum throwing baby.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Baby.
yeah, it's because he was too rich and didn't learn emotional stability
Right.
in any way.
Yeah. Who's Eric is the one
Prince
in
Eric.
Mermaid.
Mhm.
Little
He plays
Mermaid.
the recorder in
Yeah.
Little Mermaid. Great. Wears a cape. He's got a cape on in that movie. So
Yeah.
a lot of pants tucked into boots.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's the look.
But he's got cute
Luke.
though. He's got dimples. He's cute.
He's pretty cute.
Yeah, he's got an LEWK.
Yeah.
For reals.
Yeah, but French.
Huh?
So there's that. Who else we got? We got Prince Naveen is from The Princess and the Frog. We've got God, who else is there?
Who else is a prince too?
Yeah, because you've got Mulan, who he's fucking hot, but not a prince.
right.
You know?
Yeah, they
So-
got away from the like prince and the royalty and stuff.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
the prince.
Pocahontas,
You've got the prince in Frozen, but
Prince Olaf.
no.
Prince
Olaf is the
is
snowman.
the snowman. I don't have kids, and so I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do classic ones.
Okay.
Yeah, so each pick one.
Well, I Little Mermaid was mine growing up.
Yeah.
That was my
Prince Eric.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that makes sense
Prince
for
Eric
you.
was my prince.
That makes
so
sense.
I'll go with him.
I know you want Aladdin, so I'll give you Aladdin.
Well, I don't know because I feel like I did Aladdin.
Not
No,
technically
we
a
didn't
prince
do for
though.
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Well, I mean Prince Ali, kind of. He marries into
Fabulous
it.
he.
He does marry into
Alia
it.
Babwa.
Because he marries Princess Jasmine. So okay, yeah, I'll go with Aladdin. Sure.
My favorite was Beast, because
Okay.
I loved Beauty and the Beast.
There we go.
And I
Okay.
hear what you're saying.
And,
it doesn't mean I'm going to marry him. but I
Hot
was
when
just
he
thinking
turns
of, like,
into a person.
Very
well, and I
hot.
think that like when you think about like who when you were at certain ages,
Yeah,
Beauty and the Beast was mine,
yeah,
and
Little Mermaid.
was yours.
And that transformation scene is beautiful. Like the
Beauty and the Beast
is
is a
a
great
fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And that scene where he transforms, I remember being awestruck watching that whenever he transforms from the beast back into a person. And then, yeah, hot. So
All right,
it's
Fuck, Marry,
actually
Kill.
kind of hard.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I think I know what I'm doing too.
I'm gonna marry Aladdin. He is resourceful.
Yep.
He's funny. He is
Down to earth because he's
down
been
to
poor.
earth.
So he knows
Exactly.
what's up.
So he's not an eat the rich.
Got a monkey.
yes,
Fun.
fun monkey.
Yeah.
for sure. So I gotta marry Aladdin. I gotta fuck Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like
Gonna take out that aggression.
absolutely.
For sure.
We're gonna do wild things. I kind of like it rough, and I think he can get down. And he's got a thing for smart chicks.
That's right.
So-
True.
That's right.
And you would be the smarter one in that relationship. Like she has to teach him how to read.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's just like,
yeah.
I
I
see.
like that, and I'll throw him a bone.
Yeah,
as
literally.
it were. Yeah. And then I gotta kill Eric. Honestly,
you got to kill your own choice.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, when you lay out their like personality traits, he just is rather lackluster
Bland.
and bland.
Kind of bland.
He's
He's
definitely
Wonder
not worth
Bread.
giving up your fins for.
Yeah.
And your voice.
He's plain oatmeal. I mean, he's cute. He's cute. He's
Wonder
got
Bread.
he's got blue eyes, black hair, and dimples. He's cute, but yeah, he's boring.
Also, it's kind of like a weird message that he likes her so much,
and she can't fucking talk to him.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't love that.
Yeah.
No, I don't love
talk
that
a lot.
I don't love that either. It's
Yeah.
a strange storyline
Right.
for sure.
You know what I love about you
What?
is you not using your voice.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great is if you were
You
actually
just-
silent all
Bitch,
the time.
you're
If you could-
hot and you
could
can't
just
talk
be-
to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Just nip it in the bud.
Perfect. Perfect. This is actually perfect.
Yeah. So I don't love that. That's
It's
my
terrible.
answer. There
I
you go.
think that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be for me too. I'm not going to lie.
Ah.
Yeah. Marry Aladdin. Because, I mean,
You'd have
honestly.
so much fun.
So much fun.
Aladdin would be
Magic
fun. He's
carpet
a little
rides.
immature, which would be like
You're also
ugh.
living someplace like
But
warm
so am I.
and beautiful
Yeah,
with Aladdin.
Yeah,
Like,
you're living in Agrabah, which is like
super like
mhm.
just beautiful
And he's got
and,
his own song.
hot and yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do the same thing. I was struggling a little bit because where Eric lives, Seaside Castle,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, gorgeous. You wouldn't have to work, just kick it, right?
Yeah.
Which would be great. But you are right in that like he wears a cape, he plays a flute. He's kind of he's like plain oatmeal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and kill him. And then I would say I will marry Aladdin, but I'm gonna need him to grow up just a little bit. Like he's a little just a skosh
juvenile. Yeah.
immature, but that's okay. We can I get to have a tiger,
Mhm.
great.
Oh, yes. I love the tiger.
Pet monkey,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Way better than the pet crab that you get.
yeah, and actually kind
And
of an overbearing crab. You got an overbearing crab. You got a mansplaining
Is he a
seagull.
lobster? Is he
Yeah.
a lobster?
No, he's a crab.
Oh, okay.
Sebastian.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Seba-
Sebastian.
He's a crab.
And then you get flounders.
Flounder's
Oh,
cute,
though.
yeah,
But I don't want to
flounder.
have to go to the water to visit all my friends all the time.
That's
like,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I just want to stay inside,
Yeah.
cuddle with my tiger. So I'm going to marry Aladdin. And then, why not fuck the beast? Don't want a long-term relationship with you.
No.
You seem like
Complicated.
complicated. You got a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of baggage.
And honestly, that place needs some work. If
It
I'm
looks
being
cold.
honest.
It's a
It looks
dump.
cold.
Yeah. He's not been keeping up with his.
No, and
No.
I feel bad because, most of his help has been turned into
Like
dishes.
teacups
and
How
and
much
shit.
can you do without thumbs?
Yeah, it's true,
So
you
it's
know?
it is
It's not really his
difficult.
fault.
But actually, when they all turn back into people in that last scene, the castle does look much nicer.
That's
Because
right.
the castle transforms too
That's
after
right.
he transforms. Shit's blooming. It's looking pretty good. But I'm also just like, I need you to go to therapy if we're going to have a long-term relationship. You got some issues that you have not worked out. I suspect there's some mommy and daddy problems happening. I've been watching Succession and I'm just kind of like rich people problems.
I get too anxious, and
It
and
makes
also
me
it makes
anxious.
me angry because I'm just like,
What do you have? To
what do you
be-
have to be this fucking
Yes.
petty about?
And you're all bad people.
You're all bad. You're terrible.
I am enjoying that show in that it is a very well crafted show.
Right.
But I did tell Anthony, I'm like, I can only watch like 2 episodes of this
Right.
at a time
Me
because
too. It's my limit.
it does. It fills me
Infuriating.
with like anxiety and like I'm not rooting for anybody.
No.
I'm not
Right.
rooting for
I hate
anyone.
all
I
of
hope
you.
you all lose.
Why do you guys get all this money and privilege? It's so
And you get to be
not
just
fair.
nasty to
And
each other
exactly.
like through this
Ugh,
entire thing.
the
So
worst.
anyway, all that to say, the Beast, I feel like he's got rich boy problems
Yep.
and I don't have time for it.
Got it.
Okay. So
but he hot, so
He's hot.
He can buy me pizza.
yeah, and he's been
Yes.
living as a beast for like, I don't know, 10 years or so. So
Buy
Yeah.
me pizza is now our new code word
for
for yes.
For he can
everything,
get
for
it.
everything.
Yeah,
So
he can get it.
He can buy me pizza.
he can buy me
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right. Well, let's take 5 and we'll come back with stories.
and we're back.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll get us started with stories.
Sweat.
My freshman year in college, I had a crush on a girl from my high school. When I asked her out, she informed me that she only dated women. I'm male. She insisted that we were still friends. She just didn't roll that way. She offered to She offered to be my wingman, and I gladly took her up on the offer.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, great.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Win, win,
Loving
win.
it.
A few weeks later, she had set me up on a semi-blind date with one of her friends. We'll call her Monica. The 3 of us met at Arby's because we were fancy.
Yes.
Freshmen in high school, or
Yep.
freshmen in college, high school students.
Yep.
Arby's.
Gonna get one of those
So
cheesy roast
good.
beef sandwiches.
Oh, beef and cheddar.
Those
Are you-
curly fries
God
and a
bless.
Jamocha
Yeah.
shake.
And
And
the
the-
potato
no,
cakes.
Oh my god! In the cheese sauce.
Oh,
with the
so
fries,
good.
The curly fries.
Are you
Oh
guys?
my
Are you guys?
God.
Arby's sauce or horsey sauce?
I'm horsey sauce.
I'm Arby's
Arby's.
sauce, right? I don't
Yeah.
like horseradish.
I
No.
love
Yeah.
horseradish.
Oh
Da-da-da-da-da.
wow, we are
Anyway,
hungry.
starving.
lunchtime.
Starving. But they met at Arby's.
No
and
shame.
My friend tried playing matchmaker. He loves theater, and so do you, Monica. Monica loves music, and so do you, etc. Mm-hmm. Which everyone loves
Yeah.
music. That's such a high school thing to
Wait,
say.
You like listening to music?
Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I talk to music a lot in my online dating, like Tinder, Bumble, that sort of thing. There are some people who are like, I'm not really into it. I'm like, so did you just
What?
not get assigned a soul when
Yeah.
you were born?
Actually-
Or what is wrong with
Huh.
The date was going fine, so my friend decided to leave Monica and I alone. We talked a bit more and decided to go see a movie. I didn't have a car at the time, so I hopped in Monica's passenger seat and we went on our way. This is when shit got weird. About 2 minutes after leaving Arby's, Monica receives a phone call. She says it's her roommate and she needs to answer it. She picks up the phone and I hear a man's voice. I was a bit surprised, but it's not too
roommate.
unusual for a girl to have a guy as a roommate.
Yeah, no.
Monica and her roommate get into some kind of argument and she pulls over to a gas station. Another car pulls in right beside us.
Oh no!
Again, I didn't think anything of it at the time.
Baby, run.
Monica turns to me and says, I need to go talk to my roommate. Just wait here for a minute. I assume that she wants to be on the phone in private, but what happens next will shock you.
Is your roommate your husband?
Great.
Monica gets out of the car and goes to talk to the driver in the car that just pulled up next to us.
Stalker.
Wow.
This is where I start to freak out. What are the odds that her roommate happened to pull up right behind us?
honey.
I hear a bit of yelling and then I start thinking about an escape plan.
Yes.
At this point, Monica opens my car door and says, Hey, I'm really sorry to do this, but my roommate is going to have to take you home.
What? Is
No.
Monica okay?
No. This is the part of the movie where someone in the audience screams, Don't go with him now. That's how you get killed.
Yes.
White people always be going with strange men thinking everything will just be A-okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I wish I could say I got smart and said, No, thank you, I'll just walk, and went home. But I didn't. With some combination of confusion and curiosity, I get out of Monica's car and
That is white people shit.
it is
Yeah.
headed into the passenger seat of this stranger.
Oh,
Complete
sweetheart, you are
strangers
on a
car.
Dateline episode.
It's also a thing that I feel like most women would not do.
No,
like, would
yeah.
be like, no.
Yeah.
exactly. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, this white men shit.
Yeah. We're in my hometown, so I know if he goes any direction he's not supposed to, so I can just bail out of the car and run to freedom, just tuck and
yeah,
roll.
Yeah, like you know, normal.
It's also a young man
Fucking
thing.
ladybird out of
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
wow.
going to Ralph Wiggum yourself out of this car. Like, yeah, that's like 18, 19-year-old
yeah.
boy
Oh
thing.
my god.
The guy was pretty big. I was 6'2" at the time. Did you shrink?
At the time.
Or maybe he got taller. He could have grown.
Probably got taller.
He
yeah.
could have grown. Okay.
Yeah.
I was 6'2" at the time, and he was significantly bigger than me.
Holy shit!
And that tells you anything. It does.
It does.
Thank
tells me
you.
everything. I am frightened, sir.
I don't remember his name, but we'll just call him Ross. Anyway, Ross
So
starts...
Monica, Ross.
Monica and Ross.
Aw, he
I
likes
see what's the
friends.
point.
Yeah.
Cute. Anyway, Ross starts driving back to my dorm, and we're sitting in awkward silence for most of the trip. Eventually, he says, So, how do you know Monica? I knew something fishy was happening, so I wasn't about to say we were on a date. I just say, Oh, we have a mutual friend, and hope Ross doesn't get suspicious. He just nodded his head and kept driving. Apparently, Ross was resolving some anger in his head because out of nowhere, he starts talking as if we were in the middle of a much more personal conversation. Yeah, a lot of people at our church are upset that Monica and I live together. I think they're just assuming we're having sex all the time or something. It shouldn't even matter since we're engaged, but it's still annoying to hear stuff like that, you know? I just nod my head as I realize what had just happened. Apparently, my lesbian friend set me up on a blind date with an engaged girl, and her fiance came and picked me up to take me home.
Oh my
In
god.
The hell.
Wow. You're like, sorry, brah.
I was silent to the rest of the night. I told Ross the wrong dorm so that he wouldn't know where I lived, and got out of the car and just walked around campus for a bit. It was definitely the strangest date I've ever been on.
Wow. Someone got her wing woman privileges revoked after that.
Motherfucker, you don't get to hook me up with shit.
No, like, you
Not
couldn't have given me a heads up. Jesus, do you not know your friend Monica at all?
Oh my God.
God damn.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow, woo, wee, wow. Okay, all right. So this story comes to us from the interwebs via our email. The subject was called Mistakes of Youth. She starts out by saying, "Hi, ladies. I gotta say, getting your podcast every Wednesday makes the middle of my week a highlight. I'm submitting this as her third story, so that she's already shared a couple stories with us.
Oh, hey,
and was wondering if Cassie wouldn't mind reading it. That's me. You win." The lottery. It went into my inbox. So, I was also the one who submitted the 32 and still a child, which Christina read.
Yes, the one where it's like, you've got yeasty breath.
That
fucking guy.
Ew.
That fucking guy.
And my decision-making skills were rightfully questioned as well.
Sorry.
Well, I've always disliked Chipotle, that Keegan read.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the little background.
With the racist guy. Yeah, I remember.
Oh my God, yes.
Jesus.
Oh, honey. Oh, I'm giving you a hug.
all the things.
Yeah.
So yes. So this story is another one where I've made questionable decisions, but in my defense, I grew up pretty isolated area with limited to no dating prospects. Which
I
we talked
understand
about. Yes.
completely.
Yes. If you hadn't already dated the person, they were assholes or friends of someone you've dated or drug addicts. I think we, again, have grown up in the same town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of experience and with many different types of people, and the isolation can mean loneliness and has you ignoring, very commonly, red flags. So she says, buckle up. This is a long one, but I think it's worth the read.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
I believe I was around 16 or 17 when I first made contact over some dating sites. This was before Tinder, with this guy who was around my age and lived about 2 hours away from me. I lived in a farm area, and while 2 hours wasn't far for where I was, city miles and country miles are completely different.
Yeah,
yes.
Totally,
Absolutely.
completely. I didn't have a car, and neither did he, so our interactions were limited to online only. Our relationship was friendly and flirty, but nothing really serious. He was a bodybuilder, and I was thrilled a guy so fit and attractive would want to have a relationship with me.
Or even exists in the first place. Because it's the internet. You can be whatever you want to be. Most likely you're a middle-aged housewife that's bored.
So even though it was just textual feelings,
Yes.
especially since he was stingy with pictures, I know now it's not hard to get fit men to send naked photos to strangers they meet online.
No, it isn't.
I can actually make that happen. If we had a
Right
bet
now?
right now, I bet you I could do within 5 minutes, I could have a dick pic on my phone.
Yeah, or I mean, just also really muscly people just want to show you their muscles, so they're willing to send
Or
you
a photo.
shirtless pics with very little
And
prompting.
I'm not even talking about my boyfriend. I'm saying I could get
Oh
random
no, I know.
shirtless
Fit
photo
ass.
in less than 5 minutes.
Especially fit ass
Oh,
guys
yeah.
who are just like you said,
Yeah.
into themselves.
That's why they do that.
Yeah.
So that they can.
Narcissism.
Yeah.
Which,
Totally.
I mean, to be honest, if I got super fit, I'd be like, this isn't lasting for more than a year. So I'm taking
all
all
the
the
photos.
pics, like
Dude.
all the pics. Like I'm Kamel on Johnny. That
This
whole thing,
fucking year. Yeah. I'm just like, let's do this. Everybody's seeing everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mhm. I'm wearing. If I get fit, I'm wearing the
revenge
smallest
porning myself.
bikini. Yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah.
I know now it's not hard to get fit men to send naked photos to strangers they met online, but back then online dating was new and I was naive, and catfishing wasn't really a thing yet. He eventually started dating someone seriously, and our relationship went flat platonic with sporadic conversations. After about a year after he started dating this girl, their relationship had ended. He reached out to me to help him with his emotional fallout, which I was willing to take on.
No.
I was lonely. What can I say? 9 months later, he was still depressed and sending me messages. I was living closer to him at the time and I had a car, so I offered to take him out on a date. I would pick him up, we'd go to dinner and a movie and see where the night took us.
Women are not therapy centers.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm
We
not a
have said
rehab
that.
center.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not here to be your emotional support system. We are not in a relationship.
To be fair
sir.
to her, though, he's been sending her hot bod photos for a while.
Oh,
and
I'm
she
not.
says,
I'm not faulting her.
Oh, no.
I'm not
No.
faulting her. I'm
No.
faulting
I'm
that
faulting
like
guy.
Yeah.
for
When
being like,
when
don't
s-
use fucking women as your fucking like
crutch to
Yeah.
get through
Yeah.
an emotional crutch. Like, oh, I hate it. Okay.
I do too. I thought it would take us to bed. I was wrong. Date starts out all right. I don't remember much about the car ride or dinner, and I don't remember exactly what movie we went to. Some action flick is all I can recall. What I do remember is being halfway through the movie and he breaks out into sobs, racking, heart-wrenching sobs, full-on tears and snot in a packed theater.
Well, it sounds like she wasn't catfished.
No.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah,
I thought
me
that
too.
it
I
was going to
thought
be a
that was
catfish.
gonna go.
Oh, for sure, right?
Yeah, but this is awful.
I comforted him as much as I could, let him lay his head on my shoulder, patted his back, whispered something nonsense, some soothing nonsense, trying to get him to calm down. He eventually moved.
They're there.
They're there.
It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be fine. Everything's fine.
He eventually moved from loud sobs to quiet shaking and tears for the rest
That's
of the movie.
worse.
I
That's
know.
worse. That's worse.
Silent
Shudders.
sobs.
Oh. I had no idea what to do and was flustered. I'm still of the opinion that 9 months after a year-long relationship, the sobs should be under control. by now.
They should
Oh
be.
my god, that's the best sentence ever.
Oh
yes.
my god! If you are almost as far out of the relationship
As you were in.
as you were,
That's
in,
got to be something else, man,
Yes.
going on. You don't cry
Whoa.
that hard.
sobbing. Maybe you still feel bad, but the uncontrollable sobbing was a little
Yeah,
much.
you can have a silent tear.
I didn't even have that after my fucking divorce, man. Like 9
Yeah.
months later, that no, you still like get
No,
a
you're
little.
well, like she said,
little-
you're still upset.
Yeah, you can get misty-eyed.
or missy.
Some-
And that
something
was
in
a
the-
fucking marriage. This is a 1 year relationship.
Right. I mean, but even then, I'm like, okay, like something in the movie could have reminded you about something, and you could
Yeah.
have like a tear, or you can feel sad.
Excuse yourself,
back.
sir. You know,
racking loud sobs. It's also
snot.
fucking disrespectful to everybody else in that theater. They wouldn't tolerate that shit at the ArcLight. They would have
No, they
kicked your ass
wouldn't.
out.
I know.
No.
We're just trying to
Arclight
watch
don't play like that.
Terminator. Like,
Yeah,
what
I'm
the
sorry,
fuck?
sir. Come on.
This is T2. All right. So, cut to 5 years later. I'm on Tinder, swiping, and see a familiar set of pecs and biceps with a charming smile. I swipe right, and it's a match. The relationship started out like it had before, flirty, silly, fun. I thought at first he didn't recognize me, but we eventually did address the crying incident, laughed about it, then moved on. We decided to meet up for dinner and then decided to become friends with benefits.
Okay, so she's finally gonna hook up with this guy. She played the long game.
Long game.
Yeah.
He's hot.
She had a goal in sight.
She did.
She's gonna meet that goal.
He's apparently hot.
Dude, I can't say anything.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
we've addressed it many times on
Yeah.
this podcast. If you're hot, we excuse all manner of shady
Yeah.
behavior.
Cry in a movie. That's fine.
Yeah.
I need to climb that mountain.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mama's
Mount
been
Dick's a lot.
thinking about that mountain for 5 years.
Mount Gets Dick.
The dick that got away.
Take that gun away.
And I think we just named this episode.
Yes, we did. Oh my god.
All right. So we are both living in situations where having a fun night would be hard without unintentionally including the whole household. Roommates and close living quarters can be frustrating. So we decided to meet halfway at hotels.
Whoa.
You're in a hotel. Fuck this guy.
Yes.
That's how good that dick is. That you're
Yep.
putting down a credit card.
Yes.
The first time was fun. He paid for the hotel and we took full advantage of it.
Did you ever hear about, like, Tom Segura had a whole bit about hotel sex?
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like, hotel sex is just
Yes.
so much dirtier than
Yes.
regular sex, because you're like, we're going to have sex, but we're also going to disrespect this room.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
Yes. The next time I paid and he showed up 4 hours late. I had left work early to get there on time, and I was irritated. I don't remember the exact text exchange. However, I remember telling him
You
I
watched
was
a whole movie
not-
on Stars.
Right. I was not happy at his tardiness, and he basically was telling me to calm down while making it seem like I was being unreasonable to expect him to be on time.
I'll burn this hotel room to the ground.
Now, current me, red flag. Such a douchebag move, and I should have
4
left.
fucking hours.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Fuck you.
Bye.
As I was then, I thought maybe it was unreasonable. It's just a hookup. It's no big deal. As I am now, I don't ignore the friends part of friends with benefit. And friends don't treat you that way.
Good.
Yes.
Yes.
Preach.
Yes.
It's my time being disrespected. I can't.
Yes.
I can't handle that shit. I mean, granted, you're in a hotel, and I think hotels are fun, so I would just be watching all the
And
ID.
Such
but,
a comfortable bed for the
so
most
comfy.
part.
Yeah, so many pillows.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
But
the principle.
the principle is, did you feel disrespected? I would feel disrespected
I would.
after
Yeah.
4 hours.
Yes.
I mean, I'm used to sitting around in hotels, but I would be like, that's extremely long.
And you
respect
left
my
work
time.
early.
Yeah. Did you text saying something came up? Like
Nothing.
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 You were. It's.
However, at the same time, he didn't ghost her and move to another country. So.
Oh, so the bar is on the floor
Yes.
at this point.
That's
we're like,
where
the
we're
bar
at.
is so low that we're
That's-
like, well,
We've created new lows on this podcast and now new highs on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
he didn't
we are-
Thornton her. So there's that.
Anyway, he eventually arrives and we hook up. We're in the hotel outside a major city, and he decides we need to go into the city for tacos from his favorite taco place. I'm always down for tacos, and we go in.
Fucking
Yes.
men.
He is a maniac at driving, whipping around other cars, throwing the middle finger, speeding through city streets.
You're going
And-
to get me killed, sir.
It's a huge
Dude.
turnoff.
Dude, I'm like, roid rage much? Because that's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah,
You got
I'm
all
like-
them muscles and all that fucked up driving shit. You fucked crazy.
Be
well,
like,
and roids do also like just mess with your hormones. Maybe that's why he cried so hard.
yeah.
Dude, I didn't even think. Okay, here we go. Luckily, we make it to the taco joint, order some tacos, and actually really great tacos. Head back to the hotel.
So he has good taste in tacos. There's one
There you
point
go.
in the pro column.
There's
Exactly.
in the end. Once back, he pulls out a baggie from his pocket, which then I assumed was the whole reason for going out. I was pretty used to his pot habit. That didn't bother me. This wasn't pot.
Cocaine?
Cocaine.
Uh-huh.
I don't know exactly where he got that cocaine.
He's
At the taco joint, his
tacos,
dealer
he's like-
met him.
Yeah, he's like, good tacos, good cocaine. He proceeded to fuck my brains out and pass out a couple hours later. Yes, hours later. Like she goes, I was unaware of what cocaine does to someone, but that was an experience I was
Dude,
hesitant
usually
to
that
be
is
a part
not
of ever again.
the experience. Because
Really?
Coke dick is a thing.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Where
Depends
it's
on
like
how much you have.
it depends. Yeah,
have
exactly.
no
It'll either
experience
get
with it,
hard
but-
and not be able to stop, or it just won't get hard at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. Coke dick is not fun. That's not a ride.
Not the ride
that-
you want to get on?
No,
No.
it's not fun.
Nah, it doesn't, none of this sounds fun, actually.
No,
No.
I mean the
I think there
taco
might be-
part
The
sounded fun
taco
to
part
me.
sounds
Actually, the only thing I'm on board for so far is
Yeah.
just
all
the
the
tacos.
tacos.
Yeah. So far.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, he invites me out again, this time to hang out with him and a buddy. This is how porn start to me.
No.
I feel like this is how I've seen porn start this way.
I don't trust this guy enough to be around him and his
And a
friend,
friend.
alone.
A buddy.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And somebody who's a buddy. We're going to a dancing at a club they both knew and loved. I decide to go because I have poor decision-making skills when I'm feeling lonely.
Bring a friend.
And we've
I'm not saying
established
don't
this.
go, but don't go by
Yeah.
yourself.
Exactly.
Bring a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah, yeah.
As a precaution, I tell them several times that I need to leave around 2 a.m. that night so I could go take care of my dogs. Now, this wasn't really true because I had a roommate who would take care of them, but I just wanted an excuse to get out of the night. Just
That's
in
right.
case things
Start the
went
night out
south.
with an out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I have absolutely no idea where we are. We drive into the city and I leave my car at this parking lot. Then I hop into the buddy's SUV and we go further into the city to a club.
It's giving me anxiety.
Once again, I reiterated that I absolutely had to leave by 2 a.m. to get home.
You are paying for a cab home because
They're not taking you home. They're going to be on all the cocaine.
Yeah.
So Just when I thought that the hookup was a crazy driver, the buddy was worse. I legitimately sat in the back seat with closed eyes and clenched every part of me, bracing for the accident that luckily never happened.
Like, I did not agree to be an extra on Fast and Furious. Thank you very much.
Twice during this ride, we pull over to alleyways for the two of them to get out and pee behind dumpsters. That's an aggressive amount of peeing.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
That's twice on a drive between.
And also, do you know how panicked I would be if someone pulled into an alley?
Alleyway.
I have chills.
I hate it.
I have full body chills.
You got two aggressive dudes, and you're the only female, and they're pulling into an alleyway.
I don't
No.
I was
God.
not having a lot of fun, but we arrive at the club and it looked promising. We went in and the guys immediately dispersed to hang out with other people they know. I went to the bar and ordered a drink, then people watched. And as I'm watching, I noticed the line in the bathroom is extremely long. My hookup exited, comes up to me and asks if I need to go in. I shake my head and he leaves me again. Maybe 20 minutes later, he bounds up to me over the top hyper and drags me onto the dance floor. He starts yelling in my ear about how great the cocaine is. Can't not say cocaine.
I know.
The cocaine is here, and that he just got in the bathroom and had to sniff off the back of the toilet. Listen,
Oh
bathroom
my God.
cocaine.
Bathroom.
Ew.
I literally, in my head, I imagine this. It's just a line, and there's a dealer just standing right in the doorway who's just handing out bags.
It's like the person that
hands you towels.
hands you towels. Also, there's a bump I laid out for
Yes.
you.
I don't know if you'd like to have a
would you
rail.
like some double mint gum, a Tic Tac, or a line
rail?
of cocaine?
A rail of
Tip
cocaine?
jars right over here.
Yes.
What if you didn't tip him after that? You're
No.
like, deuces.
No.
Yeah, no. I think
I think you get kicked out of the bar.
Yeah.
Actually.
pretty much.
Talking. I'm trying to be cool and chill, but there's no need to make a big deal of this. He wasn't driving and I wasn't going home with him. I told him again about having to leave again at 2 a.m. to go get my dogs. Pretty sure I felt a record scratch in my head. His buddy, I just watched his, I agreed to told him not to worry. His buddy was a good driver while high. Words I never want to hear.
We've
Thank
all
God for Uber and Lyft. Honestly,
Yeah.
just like don't put yourself.
We've
in that
all been in that
The very next
situation
sentence.
though. Like I remember being in before Uber and Lyft.
This is
I remember-
before Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, I remember being like 18, 19, and there was always that person who was like, "Don't worry, he's a good
high.
fucked up driver."
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
And you had no choice but to be like, okay, well, this is okay. And she says this is before Uber and Lyft became a thing, and I had no idea where my car was. So that's the other side of it. So even getting to a cab at this point, she doesn't really know where her car is. It's at this lot that she left it at when she met them.
Jesus.
So she's like, I tried to make the best of it. I had another drink, danced a bit more. Guys were out being social. I counted how many times my hookup went into the bathroom and tried to keep track of the buddy. The buddy went once, maybe once more. My hookup went probably 5 more times.
my God.
Yeah. We'd arrived around 11. The club shut down at 2. I thought we'd go back to the cars as I requested. We didn't. We ended up driving around the city, me repeatedly asking to be taken back to my car for another 2 fucking hours.
Oh,
Hate
no.
them.
Stopping periodically for them to pee behind dumpsters. The fuck with these guys.
Oh my God.
When we finally get back to my car, I was angry. My hookup tried to blow it off, tried to diminish my anger by making it seem like I was crazy. I was not crazy.
No.
I got into my car while the two of them flew off in the night to do whatever the hell they were going to do, and I drove
In
home.
the morning. That would have been like 4 in the morning at
Yeah.
this point.
Yes.
Like people are waking
Fuck
up. My
you.
dad is getting up to stomp
Yes.
around the living room at this point.
Yes.
he is.
He's
Okay, and my
grounding-
dad too.
He's grounding his coffee,
Yes.
grinding his coffee.
Yes,
He's
like,
getting it all. Yeah.
No.
He's slamming cupboards.
I hate these men so
Wow.
much.
Dude.
Not my proudest moment, but I feel like there are some things within the experience that others can learn from.
You know, I can't even. I can't blame her for really
I've
any of this.
I've been on this date.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
All
This
of
is
us
how we learn.
have
This is
been.
how we learn.
I can't blame her for
Exactly.
any of that. Like, that is just,
And
you
who
had
knew?
too much faith in this person.
Well, and
like,
that's the thing. This is just a fuck buddy. You're not
Yeah.
looking at it like I'm going to marry this guy. This
the
is
only
just
thing
some
I would
fuck
have said
buddy.
is you bring a friend with you. If you're going
Yeah.
out with him and another dude,
Yeah.
bring somebody with you. Like, that's the only thing. Other than that, I'm just like, you couldn't have
Yeah.
known that this was going to get
Unpredictable.
like this.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing too is like you hit the nail on the head where she was like, you had faith in them. And I feel like that's something that, not that I don't have faith in people, but I feel like that's something that gets shaken off of you. It's like, no, not everybody lives by the golden rule.
No.
Like treat others the way you want to be treated.
Nope.
Or, you know,
Right.
like at the end of the day, like
Well, and drugs skew that too.
drugs definitely skew that. And you just cannot really rely on somebody to have your best interests at heart or to be a good person.
Well, and he just wasn't a good friend
No.
either. She had different expectations of their relationship than he did.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big part of it.
Well,
too.
Or
you
just
know,
like
said
what-
friends with benefits, but
Friends.
friends.
Yeah,
friends.
she
Let's be
nailed
fucking-
it.
He
Nailed
obviously didn't have those expectations out of whatever they were doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely not.
ugh.
So she says, thanks for taking the time to read this long one. Keep up the amazing work. It's awesome to be part of the MWD community.
Yeah.
Yay.
What up, Worsty?
What up?
Well, Jesus. This one
Jesus.
is pretty I found it on Reddit. I titled it Mean Girls. So I decided to meet up for coffee with a girl that I had been talking to online. We talked for 45 minutes or so, normal first date topics like family, travel, etc. She then asks, so where did you do your undergrad? Now, I have a pretty good job, but that question sets the bar pretty high for a guy who didn't go to college. She's not only assuming that I went to college, but is also assuming that I am taking part in some type of postgraduate school.
I hate that. Oh, God, I hate that.
too.
Mhm. It's classist.
It's so classist. And again, by the way, a college education, a college degree is not an indicator of how intelligent someone is
Yep, amen.
in any way.
Yep. When I said that I went to technical school and then straight into the workforce, she looked at me as if she'd never heard of such a thing.
Oh, shit. She'd hate me.
Apparently, I didn't pass all of her minimum requirements to be considered human. After a brief pause, listen to what happens.
Oh, girl. I can't.
Get
I
ready.
already
Get
fucking
ready.
hate this.
I'm,
Get
I'm
ready.
sweating
Oh.
already.
Get
I'm
ready.
so mad.
You will not even believe because after a brief pause, she broke off her shocked stare, placed her hand on her forehead in a fashion that covered her eyes, inhaled briefly, and followed it by a Valley Girl, ew.
No.
She took her BlackBerry out of
No.
her purse and whispered to herself as she typed, he didn't even go to college. I then saw the left thumb hold the shift key as she deliberately pressed the exclamation point key once, twice, 3 times.
Wow.
She pressed a few more buttons on the phone, presumably sending this text message to her BFF. She put the phone away, looked at me, and after taking a deep breath said, well, that's okay. Not everybody is capable of going to college.
Oh, my.
Wow. The level of privilege dripping off this conversation.
The
The
have
utter
had
lack of empathy or just decency.
Yeah.
well, and also, not everybody should go to college. We've been completely like brainwashed
Brainwashed.
in this country to believe that everyone has to go to college, and the amount of people that I know who have gone who are in debt for the rest of their lives who do not use their degrees.
Yep.
What the fuck makes you think
Astonishing.
you're so fucking special?
And
Oh my
you're-
God,
you're
I hate
on a
her.
fucking date with somebody who literally
That's a who raised you. Who the
is
fuck raised you?
Who raised you 100%? So she put on a fake smile, followed by an awkward laugh, and just stared at me awkwardly. I couldn't believe that she'd react so rudely to something and then try to act as if it didn't happen. After staring at each other awkwardly for a few seconds, I finally broke the silence by saying, wow, okay, so yeah, I guess it's about time to get out of here. I stood up and took my trash to the trash can, and she followed me out the door. I turned and began walking down the street, and she followed closely and said, "How far away is your car?" This girl was expecting
bitch.
a ride.
No.
I'm sorry, honey. You can call a Lyft or take a bus. How about that?
So I stopped and turned around and said, "Oh, I'm about a block this way. Where did you park?" She replied, "Oh, I took the bus here. I don't have a driver's license."
What?
Now,
Oh.
normally I'm not a rude person.
Oh.
Even in that situation, I was
priceless, though.
just going to walk away and let that be that. But I couldn't pass this opportunity
No, you
up.
cannot. Oh, honey. That was a gift from the gods.
Yes. So I looked her right in the eyes and said, "Ew." Pulled out my cell phone and typed,
No, you didn't.
"She doesn't even have a license!" Exclamation point. Exclamation point. Exclamation
Oh,
point.
the petty is amazing and I love
Oh,
it.
the level of petty I aspire.
I know. Then I put my phone away, looked up at her, smiled, and said, "That's okay. Not everybody is capable of driving a car. Lucky for you, the bus stop's right over there." I wish.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
I wish I took a
Ooh.
picture of the look on her face as I walked away. It was priceless.
So
Oh,
satisfying.
bitch.
I love it.
I
Oh,
love it.
mwah,
So I'm just
chef's
like,
kiss.
she
The
deserved
level of
way worse than that, but at
petty.
least he got to have that comeuppance because that, I mean, I'm so sorry that anybody, I don't understand making somebody like feel small. I think it's such a disgusting trait to have in
Yes,
a person.
it is.
And I hope that interaction engendered some sort of soul searching in that fucking bitch for her to
I doubt it.
No, I doubt
I
it.
doubt it too,
Doubt it.
but
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
he didn't even go to college.
I
Wow.
fucking hate you so much. Okay, so I am going to try and get through this story in a timely fashion because in a Keegan fashion, I literally typed like 7 pages of notes. Okay.
Oh my
So-
goodness. I love you.
Okay. So this story I had read about, I remember a few years ago on Jezebel initially. And then,
Love already.
yeah, and then like there was a couple of months ago, Case File did a story, probably like 4 months ago, Case File did a story. And it is a little wild. Okay, let's jump in. So Richard Brittain was from Bedford, UK, and he sounds like the kind of guy. This episode is just full of the most insufferable people of all time.
Yes.
He sounds like the kind of guy that I would personally hate to meet. There's no doubt that he was intelligent and that like he had a high IQ, but he believed that he was the smartest person in
In the room.
any room to the point where like he lost friendships, he lost jobs. Like he would talk about how it was easy for him to get a job but difficult for him to hold on to one because he always believed that he was right in any
You're
situation.
insufferable.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
he didn't have a job longer than 2 months at a time. So you can only imagine how much more insufferable he became when in 2006, when he was 19, he won the popular British game show Countdown, which is like a words and numbers game. So I went on Wikipedia because I was like, I need to understand his personality. I
Right.
need to understand what kind of game this is.
Is it kind of like a Jeopardy kind of thing?
It is, but there are like word rounds where you have to like make words and then number rounds where it's just like math or some shit.
God.
Which
Okay.
no, thank you.
Well, I hate that.
But it is also kind of like Jeopardy in that every series, which I'm guessing is like a season, it's usually what they call their seasons. Every series is 8 episodes, 8 games, and the winner of a game moves on to the next game. And he won all 8. So he
Wow.
won the entire series.
And we have that like over here when like a Jeopardy run
Right.
goes on for a
Mhm.
while,
Forever.
like it gets you know minor celebrity status.
Yeah, exactly. So he became what they called an octo champ. He had won all 8, and it doesn't happen very often as far as I can tell. So UK listeners, let me know. But that was kind of the vibe I was getting. So after he was the Series 55 champion of Countdown, he he really started believing that he was like a superior level of intelligence to everyone around him. He had a small bit of fame. He wouldn't let anybody forget about it. He brought it up in every fucking conversation.
Sounds fun.
He
At
started,
parties.
he started getting recognized. And then later, less than a month after winning Countdown, he went on to the British show Brain Teaser, which is like a quiz show, and won that as well. And so he won £1,500. So once again,
Hey, big spender.
hey. And he didn't even win money for winning Countdown, as far as I saw. He won like dictionaries and a trophy or some shit.
Wow.
Wait, what? Why do people even do that?
To prove they're smart? Like, I don't know.
That's so stupid.
So he even made a YouTube video, which has been taken down. I did go to his YouTube page channel. And it's creepily mostly like 150 videos of classical music. Like he just it's a little strange
Of him performing it?
no, just like classical music with like Renaissance paintings as the background, different songs. And it's like 150
like
videos.
that.
That's a level of
It's like that-
time I just can't imagine spending on something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy, but it looks like he took this video down, but you can find clips of it. I was able to find clips of it on like Daily Mail and things like that, where it's like him talking into a microphone directly to camera. He's got like Countdown memorabilia around him, and he says things like, if you're a British viewer, you probably immediately recognize me as the winner of Series 55. And then goes on to show not only a framed photo of himself on the show, but also a photo of himself standing next to the hosts. And one of the hosts is this like very curvy blonde woman. She seems like kind of a curvier version, but kind of like the British Vanna White,
right?
Sort of. And he says, this is Carol Vortimer. She was rated the sexiest woman in the UK. I know a lot of you want me to talk about all the rumors about dressing room encounters I may or may not have had with Carol Vortimer.
Get the fuck
And then he
out
winks at the
of
camera.
Here. You had no such encounters.
Yes,
What?
and she came out and was like, no. She
Absolutely fucking not.
quashed that shit immediately.
Yeah.
She was like, that did not happen.
Do you know what that person was like? Did you go to high school with that guy?
Oh, yeah.
We all did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And
We all went
it's
to
the
high school
kind
with
of
that
guy that you hated in high school, who you
Hated.
saw on Countdown, and you were devastated that he kept winning round
You're
after
just
round
like,
of this show.
God,
This
this
motherfucker
fucking
right here.
guy, he's the worst. They're just like small, sad
He's the worst.
people.
Yes,
Smug.
yes. So the public, of course, quickly begins to turn on Richard because he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And they started to joke.
Richard's such an appropriate name for him.
Rich. So
Dick.
they were saying that he was like boring. And of course, every time someone criticized him, he's also the kind of guy who can't
let it go.
let it go. So he's online defending himself against all of his critics.
So lame.
He would
He's
go,
now the president
so
of the United States. Oh, wait,
lame.
no. No, it's
no.
not.
Oh.
My fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
I understand that you could make that assumption. But he went on and on about how smart he was, and he was using his game show wins as a reference, and he would attack his critics so relentlessly. Basically, he would do it until they caved and apologized. He would just continue to like attack them until they apologized. He couldn't stay employed, so he started gambling. He was losing a lot of his money. And after losing pretty much most of his money, he signed up to participate in the Countdown Champion of Champions competition, determined not only to make some money, but also his fame was starting to wane at this point. So he was like, I want to get back in the limelight.
Oh my God.
He lost with the lowest score in the competition. And he became a laughing stock. There is actually like he used nonsensical words like throughout. Like he wasn't even able to like complete.
Like he word salad.
Yeah. Yes, he did. He did. So humiliated, he dropped out of college at Cambridge. He was going to school in Cambridge and became obsessive about like gambling, and then just started writing for freelance sites to start making money. So he started laying low. He's sort of on and off does this thing where he's like, fuck it, and does like a nomadic lifestyle where he just takes a tent and just roams around the UK and like the rest of Europe and sleeps in fields and shit. So he did that for a while. And then in 2011, he decided he wanted to go back to school. And so he enrolled as a history student at Greenwich University in England. In September of 2012, 25-year-old Richard was at the student union bar called Bar Latitude when he met 21-year-old Ella Durant. So Ella was a fellow student and a bartender, and all she had to do was smile at him, and he was instantly fucking obsessed, besotted.
See, these are the kind of stories that freak you out,
Yeah.
Cassie.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, like you, Keegan, you just like naturally if you just naturally smile like at people. I don't have that problem. I typically look angry. So.
I've said I have resting invitation face where I'm just like I smile at everyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I am, and especially she's working a hospitality job.
Yeah.
She's a bartender. She smiles at everyone. But she's 21. She's a 21 like bubbly bartender. But he immediately becomes obsessed. He says that she reminds him of Princess Leia in Star Wars, and was sure that her friendly smile meant that she had an attraction to him.
It doesn't. If you think that your server or your bartender or anyone in the service industry likes you
Your
like
dancer?
that, they fucking don't.
Your dancer doesn't like
They
you.
don't. They don't like you.
This is their job.
Ever.
This is their
It's
job. And that's what she said later. She said when she was asked about it later, she remembers when Richard first came in, and she remembers smiling at him just the same way she would smile at everybody who came in. It was part of her job. But he stared at her during her shift that day, and she remembers thinking that it was a bit strange, but that he seemed harmless. So whatever. Ella was basically the opposite of Richard. Richard was aloof with his classmates. They considered him odd, like kind of a loner. But Ella was very outgoing and bubbly, and she participated in a lot of student activities and student groups. After meeting Ella, Richard began going to the bar more frequently, and quickly he memorized the times of her shifts and only ever came in when she was working.
Oh, red fucking flag.
Ella noticed that Richard tended to stare at her, sometimes only staring at her, like not ordering anything, just coming in to watch her work. But she convinced herself that she was being paranoid when she felt uneasy about it. But she's 21. I get it.
Listen to your gut.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Of course, Richard. I was gonna. Not the time.
Nope.
Story's too long. Gotta get through it.
Okay.
Of course, Richard wasted no time in telling Ella about his countdown win, but he said that he was sure she had recognized him, but was playing it cool. It's like, I told her about it, but I'm sure she already knew who I was. The bar was getting ready to run a trivia night a couple weeks later, and Richard ensured that he and Ella were on the same team for that trivia night. And the team did well, and Ella was surprised when Richard hugged her and gave her a kiss on the cheek at the end of the night. She was like,
We aren't like that.
A little weird, but some people are tactile, right?
We're not friends like this.
Ugh, don't fucking touch me. Unless I'm giving. Oh,
I did not give express permission.
Keep your hands to yourself.
So Richard, of course, now thinks, since they did this activity together, she accepted in his mind a hug and a kiss from him. So he thinks that their relationship has now progressed to the next level. And so he sends her a Facebook friend request, and she accepts because I do. It's like, it's someone you know. It's like, she says she often accepts friend requests from, patrons, regulars, people like that. So she didn't think anything of it. Richard also found Ella's public Instagram and Twitter feeds, and she tweeted like a 21-year-old college student in 2012.
Fucking Joe Goldberg'd her.
It was...
He did.
Yeah,
but then he couldn't see him when he put the hat on.
Yes, he just disappeared, immediately disappeared.
Gone.
And he's not that this matters, doesn't look like Penn Badgley either.
Penn Badgley is...
Makes things complicated.
He's so much more hot when in this show than I've ever.
It's upsetting.
It's
weird.
It's something.
It's not okay.
Really,
it's really something we all need to examine about ourselves.
Yes,
we all need to take a close
Therapy.
look. Put that shit under the microscope. Anyway, but I mean, her Twitter reads. So we are a year apart. So in 2012, I was 22. Ella is 21. I understand the way she was social media-ing, which is a lot of vague booking. It's a lot of song lyrics as posts, and Richard becomes convinced that she's secretly communicating with him when she tweets things like, you know, he's the one when your heart beats a bit faster, and you walked into my life and it's beautiful, which sounds like a song lyric to me. Like, I think it's vague things probably directed at someone, but you know, kind of like
not you. But not you, bro.
We would have had this conversation.
You would know.
You'd know if it was you.
Yeah. You'd know.
And if you don't know, it ain't
not you. It ain't you. So it was Chuck.
Yeah.
So Richard devised a plan to impress Ella by submitting them to be on a team together for the televised game show, the BBC University Challenge.
No.
Richard wasn't sure if Ella was smart enough to be on the team, but was willing to carry her if it meant spending time with her.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I remember this case file very well. I loved hearing it in his.
Actually, this is one. If I know a lot of people think that the way that he speaks is boring, but this is one that if you feel that way, this is a good one to listen to. Actually, So he printed out an application for her. He brought it into her work and invited her to join the team. And she was surprised by this. And she said that she was
like, "What's your name again?"
I'm sorry, who are you? But she wasn't sure she wasn't sure she had the brains for it. This wasn't really like her thing. And so she asks, like, she's like, "Do you think I'm like smart enough for this?" And he said, "We need beauty as well as brains," which would be such a fuck you. Wow. Like if someone said that to you. He's like, "No, but you're hot. It's fine."
Wow.
God.
So she agreed. She takes the application saying that she's going to fill it out later. And when he told her that she needed to provide a photograph for the application, she's like, "I'm busy. You pick one for me. Just pick whatever you think is a good, picture for the application." So of course, Richard was like, "I'm on it," and went to her Facebook and spent the entire night scrolling through all of her Facebook pictures. He was sending her pictures about DMs about picture options, and after sending her one where he was like, "What do you think of this one?" and she couldn't see it, like didn't come up in the message, she was like, "Describe it to me. I can't open the message." And he says, "You're wearing a low-cut black lace trim top. On your pink lips, a mischievous smile is playing." If someone sent that to you,
was your customer at the bar,
I'm gonna get stabbed.
Oh my God, how scared would you be if someone talked to you like that? That's not a human.
I texted my best friend immediately.
This is the
with a
scariest
snapshot of that
episode
shit.
we've ever had, honestly.
It's the worst.
It's
the worst
terrified
people
right now.
The worst people we have talked about on this episode.
Yeah.
So Ella replied, "If you think I look smart enough."
Oh my God.
Like she was basically like, and then I didn't write this in my notes, but he does go on to be like, "Oh, you don't have any pictures of, you sometimes wear glasses into the bar. You don't have any pictures of you in the glasses." And he knew this because he had scrolled through all of her pictures. Photos. And she began to pick up on this because it would be like late night, you get those 3 a.m. series of likes. You open your fucking Facebook and it's comments and likes on pictures of hers from years
back
ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
that is so terrifying to me.
Right.
That is terrifying.
And he did it every single day until one day he logged in to look at her page and couldn't access it because she had unfriended him. So
bye.
So he confronted her about this.
That's why you got to block people, because then they can't even find your page at all. So they can't tell that you just unfriended them.
Right.
Blocking
They're like,
them,
"Oh, she must be off of Facebook."
I am off of it.
Yeah.
It's
so weird.
Weird, right? So he goes to the bar. He confronts her about this. And she said, "You're kind of freaking me out. You're a good guy, but you're being far too forward." So he's
completely reasonable thing to say.
Yes. Yep. He's heartbroken by this.
Heartbroken.
And he asks her, "Well, are you still going to be on the team with me?" And she says, "Yeah, I'll still be on the team with you, but it needs to be made understood that this is purely friendship level. Like there is nothing going on here. I would be participating as your friend only."
Yeah.
So he hears this. He takes a deep breath and he's like, "I'm going to spill my soul." And so he tells her that he loves her, that he believed they were soulmates, that he knew from the first time she smiled at him that they were destined to be together.
Oh, no.
And Ella was basically like, okay, dude, I am not going to participate in this competition with you. This is feeling the heat is hot. Okay.
Yeah.
So Richard found a replacement for the team, and they ended up not making it past the interview process and not getting onto the show. So after this, he kind of fell apart. He started acting super erratically. One time, I just thought that this was funny. One time during a game of Scrabble with his friends, he snatched the board away in the middle of the game when things weren't going his way. He's like, fuck this. He like turned it's like Scrabble pieces everywhere.
You'd be finding tiles under the couch.
Yeah, for weeks. He was known to drink 2 full bottles of wine before attempting to get into clubs. So he's drinking 2 bottles of wine and then going out.
Damn, son.
Yes, listen. And when the bouncers would turn him away, he started scaling the fences and starting fights.
Wow. Fuckity fuck.
This guy's wilding out.
Wilding out. He's spinning out. So he drunkenly scoured Ella's Instagram and Twitter feeds, reading every single entry. She posted frequently, and he would spend days going back years through her posts. And one time he found a post on her Twitter that she had written some time ago.
Remember that post you wrote in April of 2009? No, I do not, sir.
But unfortunately for her, the post said, "When I say I'm done, I mean fight for me." So Richard read this, believed the tweet was meant for him, and saw it as a challenge. So he started turning up at the bar every single one of Ella's shifts. He would stay from start to finish, and often doing nothing but staring at her. He referred to her on more than one occasion as the Princess Leia to his Han Solo, and the fantasy was so deep that he said he could hear the Star Wars theme song playing while he watched her work, which is also the nerdiest possible thing you could possibly say in that situation.
Dude,
I
don't need. Okay, so pin in this. Like, what the fuck would you do? No. What do you do? If this is happening to you.
I also don't hear the Star Wars, so I won't know it's even happening.
So
no, but like someone's coming in
staring at you. I mean, every time you work,
you talk to the manager, and that manager needs to ban them from the bar first and foremost.
So this is what she did.
Change my
and this
schedule.
sucks because she seems like a very friendly person who was a pretty good barmaid, you know.
Barmaid.
That's what they call her in the episode. And I'm like,
funny.
we don't say that in America, but it's fine. She switched jobs and worked with one of her coworkers, switched with them so she could work in the kitchen. So that
that sucks.
It sucks.
That's a pay. That's you're not getting paid as much. Well, I don't know how they do things
more hourly, but you don't get
as much tips.
Out,
yeah. Do they do tips there? Because a
I
lot of
actually
European
don't know.
places don't do tips.
Right.
I don't know. So one day in December, he cornered Ella as she was walking to class, and as she tried to get away, he said, "I just wanted to wish you a happy Christmas." She got away, and later, when Richard checked Ella's Twitter, he was very excited because she had just written a new post that said, "I just wanted to say I love you." And so Richard was convinced that because both of their like interactions started with "just wanted to," that she had been talking about and to him. So Richard, he still had Ella's application from whenever she applied to be on this team. And so because of that, he had her address.
No.
So he sent her a Valentine's Day card directly to her house, which terrified her.
Yeah.
And this behavior went on.
Fucking 9.
It went on till April when Ella finally had enough. She complained to university authorities, and they made Richard sign a contract that said he would stop harassing her.
Oh,
but did
work.
nothing else. They didn't do anything to physically protect her. So Ella wrote about her feelings on Twitter saying, not happy that he's going to be let back into the student union where I work. I just want it to stop. But she used a emoticon at the end that was like the :/, which is like the face, the like uncertain face. And so Richard convinced himself that because she used this emoticon, she wasn't serious.
Like he took it like a wink.
Yeah,
kind of
or
like,
just like she obviously doesn't feel that strongly because she used this emoticon at the end of it. So weirdly, Richard kind of took the contract not to see her like seriously. And so he would instead call her and leave her messages. And, you know, because most of the time she wouldn't pick up. And once he left a message that said it was love at first sight. And that same day, Ella tweeted a meme that said, "You had me at hello." So he's continuing to think that she's sending him coded messages through her social media.
Stop social media.
But I don't think she knows that that's what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's fueling it.
Yeah. So he continued to send her cards, poems, drawings, and love letters to her house through the mail. He called her obsessively. He was playing songs like the Beatles' "I Want to Hold Your Hand" on her voicemail, and eventually
In like 7th grade.
played the Police's "Every Breath You
Nope.
Take" and left it on her voicemail.
Nope.
First, don't leave me a voicemail.
It's true.
Text me.
Imagine so many voicemails.
Oh my
too.
God, I
so many
definitely didn't get
voicemails
it for like a month. And I'm like, oh shit, he's been stalking me.
Oh,
A month later, I check
fuck.
my voicemails. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, up until this point, Ella said that she kind of felt sorry for Richard. Like, she was freaked out, but she didn't want to go to the police. But his behavior was so increasingly manic. It was to the point where she was having panic attacks if she would see him in public. And if he came near her, she was screaming at him to leave her alone. So when the letter started arriving to her house, she finally made the decision to go to the police.
Good.
So stalking had been made illegal in the UK since 2012, but nevertheless, the police told Ella that stalking cases were difficult to prove, and since Richard hadn't actually harmed her, that there wasn't much that they could do.
But there is physical evidence. I mean, she's got all these letters. And stuff.
Right, but I mean, we've said it before on this podcast, it takes someone actually doing something for the police to step in. So they didn't even pay Richard a visit. All they did was talk to the university, who banned Richard from the student union building, and he could no longer visit the bar or sit outside and wait for her to finish working, which he'd done on more than one occasion. So Ella graduated not long after that. I think she graduated like mid-semester, graduated a little bit early, and decided to move back to her parents' home in Exeter. For a while, it seemed that Richard had backed off, and so she was happy to return to a somewhat normal life,
And
you know?
feel a little bit safe, you know? Sometimes if shit goes down, that feeling of safety that you can get by hunkering down and going home.
Right.
what you
Yeah,
need.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
secure because you're with your parents.
mom and dad.
I get that. Richard, in the meantime, was going through bouts of hypermania and depression. And when the university put on a graduation ceremony for Ella's class in October of 2013, he couldn't resist showing up. He had at this point figured out that, like, I don't think she actually wants me around, but I can't resist going. So it had been like 6 months. She hadn't seen him for 6 months. So when she got there and sat down, Richard positioned himself to be right in front of her. So she had to sit through her ceremony facing him, like right in front of him. It freaked her out so much that she got up and swapped places with someone else throughout the duration of the ceremony. And it was at this time that Richard was finally like, maybe I'm a stalker.
Oh,
Wow.
He
now.
he had been
Okay.
able to convince himself that it was admiration and, you know, and like love up until this point. But at this point, he starts rationalizing and he's like, okay, I'm a stalker, but I'm a benevolent stalker. And that was different from your regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill, malevolent stalker. He believed that malevolent stalkers sought to cause harm or fear, but benevolent stalking was done purely out of love and affection. So there's a difference.
Wow.
And he seemed to accept this about himself. And
Wow.
instead of stepping back and maybe getting some fucking therapy, he decided, you know what, 6 months without calling her, I'm a benevolent stalker. I'm going to start calling her and leaving her messages
It's
again.
who I am.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Yes, it's who I am. Why fight it? So she was very careful not to let her address slip, and she told everyone around her not to tell Richard where she was. But he found her new address by tracking down her mother. Found her mother on some like public something, found her address, and then was able to find Ella. And so he started sending her hand-drawn cards, one depicting Ella as a fairy tale character. He sent cards proposing to her, and one drawing depicted Ella and Richard and their two fictional children holding hands.
Then
Oh,
I
no.
moved out of the country.
Upon discovering that Richard knew where she was living, she panicked and went to the police. And again, they didn't seem to take her seriously. And she left that meeting with the police in tears. a policewoman did take her seriously enough to actually go. Of course, it was a woman.
Yeah.
Like the one woman in the room was like,
how many stories in a row now have we been that it's been a woman that's like, oh, well, I'm going to take this seriously.
Like, I think I might take a little closer look at this.
Yeah.
So
we need more women in the police force.
Honestly,
we need more women in
any
a
power
lot
situation.
of positions for sure.
That's what she said. Sorry.
So she goes and she pays Richard a visit, and she basically is like, you need to leave her alone and stay away from her. So at this point, Richard is like, okay, she's got the police coming to my house. Maybe I need a new tactic to win Ella over. So he decides to write a novel. And it's a fairy tale story that would act as a homage to their romance. He now called Ella his muse. She was his muse for his writing. And you know how I feel about being someone's muse. I'm like,
I hate that so much. This
and
story.
and she was named the protagonist in his story. And he used her real first name, Ella, and then did an anagram of her last name, Durant. And so the character in his story is Ella Tundra. He called his book The World Rose and became obsessed with what he believed would be his masterpiece. He wrote the character of Ella Tundra and fantasized about the love between the main characters. And he said it made him feel close to her because he was able to kind of like live in this fantasy where the two of them could be together. He barely ate. He did very little other than write and listen to the Beatles, which, can I just say, as a lover of the Beatles, not a good band to listen to if you're a stalker, because they have some extremely obsessive stalkery lyrics.
Yeah.
Like Run for Your Life. I just went and because I was like, I know Run for Your Life has some fucking problematic shit in there. I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than be with another man. Like shit like that.
Oof.
Not the stuff you should be listening to if you're a stalker. Richard was having trouble keeping a job because, need to write. So he finally was like, fuck it, and went on about his like nomad lifestyle with his laptop, just traversing the country, sleeping in fields, etc. I kept this little factoid in because I was just like, oh. During his travels, he discovered a love for Moby and listened to his albums on repeat, which I'm like, oh, we know some shit about Moby now that I'm like, that's a flag. Yeah. That's a red flag.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, so it's during
Who amongst us
this time who hasn't had a Moby fueled
camping trip across the country. Was he plugging his laptop into the ground?
He must be going to
coffee shops.
Yeah,
and shit.
They were describing how he would often set up in public parks and shit because he was walking the country too. And like at one point, he had set up his tent somewhere and his shoes had gotten stolen, so he was like walking barefoot. So he learned to set up his tent in like public parks, but that meant that he'd have to get up early before people started arriving, so he didn't get kicked out. So I think he would spend his days in like coffee shops and things writing. And he started a blog and he called it Richard Brittain's Blog, Musings from the Author and Countdown Champion.
Oh, God. Jesus.
So he believed his book was published when he had about like 60,000 words. He tried to approach a agent and they were like, not enough words. So he then compared himself to authors like Mark Twain, Charles Dickens, and F. Scott Fitzgerald.
No,
all
sir.
because he was like, they all had novels that were shorter than the industry standard.
You are not Charles
You
Dickens.
are not. So rightly, the agents told him to fuck right off.
Yes.
Because he was unwilling to edit his masterpiece in any way. So he joined a community called Wattpad, which was a place where users could upload writing for review and critique. And
that sounds like a great place for him to get feedback. I'm sure he was going to take it, constructive criticism, really maturely.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait.
Especially considering he had editors who were willing to work with him.
Right.
Like, nah,
exactly.
It's perfection.
Exactly. It's perfection. Most of the writers on the site were fanfic writers and self-publishers. So, of course, Richard is like, I'm so smart. I'm way smarter than y'all. I don't really need any feedback. Thanks.
I just am giving you guys this precious gift.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But he was convinced because he was so much smarter than them that he was like, they're going to fill me with so much praise because I'm such a good writer.
Or they're going to be so jealous that any negative stuff I get is going to be because I'm so much better than them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he uploaded the prologue for his book as a teaser and said that anyone who would want to read it had to purchase it, who wanted to read it, because he knew could hook them with that prologue, right?
Yeah, good marketing move.
Yeah.
He claimed in the description of his book that the world rose was set in a, quote, semi-fictional ancient world, which what does that mean? Semi-fictional.
Ancient world.
And
Okay.
it was a, quote, stunningly original piece of literature. And he even claimed that critics had compared his work to Dickens' Shakespeare and Rowling. Honey.
Wow.
Claimed himself that it's a stunningly original piece of literature.
Stunning.
I'm
is the
stunned.
word. I
am
am
stunned.
Stunned at all
Yeah.
of this.
And
That is accurate.
He closed his description by saying, I will be relentless in promoting my book for the next several weeks and intend to try some novel techniques, so don't be surprised if you see me in the news. Soon after Richard uploaded The World Rose, it received a surprising number of downloads, and some people liked the book, and other people offered critiques of the book, leaving
Jealous.
negative reviews. But he would comment basically saying, you're not smart enough to understand it. You just don't get it. My superior intellect, you just don't get it.
I don't get it.
You just don't get it.
I'm feeling where this is going. I'm like visibly
yeah.
hiding.
Meanwhile, Ella moves to Glasgow, Scotland. She took a job in 2014, and she hadn't heard from Richard in 6 months while he was writing his book. And
She's like, thank God.
right, but the month she moves, she received a message on Twitter from someone using the handle @TheWorldRose, and he asked Ella to read his book and give him feedback. She blocked him. Richard
Yes.
knew that she had moved away from her parents, and when she didn't respond, he found ways to troll her through social media feeds for clues as to where she was, and eventually found her workplace in Glasgow. So on August 26th, Richard tweeted, I think I might move to Scotland. The next month, in September, Ella finished her shift at work and she left the store and she found Richard waiting for her. He waved at her, he beckoned her over, and of course she turned, walked down the street. He followed her. He had a plan to get publicity for his book. He was going to kidnap Ella, but don't worry, it wouldn't be like a for realsies kidnapping. He was going to try and talk to Ella and convince her to fake a kidnapping, and the two of them would just go hang out in the hills for a couple of days.
Just for his book. It's going to be fine.
Yes,
No big deal.
no worries. Calm down.
I have my hat on. You can't see me.
And during that time, they would fall in love with each other, and that they would come back to fame and acclaim. So Ella is walking the other way, and he is walking after her at this point. She calls 999. She goes into a crowded place and waits for the police. By the time they get there, the police are gone. But the next day, when he goes to her workplace again and waits outside, but she was too scared to go to work. She stays at home, held up in her apartment.
Wise.
2 days after this, she finally works up the nerve to return to work, only to find Richard there again at the end of her shift. At this time, he blocks her path and says he needs to talk to her. And she intentionally makes a scene. She yells really loudly so that everybody on the street can look over at her. And then she takes out her picture and takes out her phone and she snaps a picture of him so that she has evidence that he was there following her.
Yep.
Again, by the time the police arrive, he's gone, but the Scottish police actually do take her seriously enough to charge Richard with engaging with a course of conduct causing fear or alarm. But
I like this. I like this rule.
right, but in order to charge him, they'd have to find him, and at this point, he's fucked back off to London. And this is when he writes the infamous blog post. This is what I found on Jezebel a couple of years ago, because I remember being like, what the fuck? He writes a blog post called The Benevolent Stalker. And this is why we know so much about how their conversations went down. I mean, it's from his point of view, but we know that, like, a lot of the things that she said to him and things like that. And it's fucking wild. So here's an excerpt. He says that this is how he felt when he saw her get up from the graduation and move away from him. He says, after that, I thought long and hard about what I was doing. I think that is when I first accepted that I had become a stalker. Before, I had been an admirer, but what does stalking really mean? It seems to mean that you truly love someone who does not love you back. Every great romance is about two partners who are utterly obsessed with each other. Romeo and Juliet, Tristan and Isolde are people who are so passionately and powerfully in love that nothing else matters to them. But what if that feeling was only felt on one side? What if Juliet had rejected Romeo? Would he be a stalker?
Yes.
It seems that modern society drools over depictions of this intense, obsessional love, but only when it's mutual. When it comes from one side, it's suddenly deemed a terrible thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after he left his encounter with Ella, he wrote, I left Glasgow and I think our relationship is finished now. I gave it my best shot. I really thought that we would become famous. We would have disappeared for a few days. People would have read my book, and she could have played the lead role when The World Rose was made into a movie. But alas, I'll have to find another way. So he continued living nomadically for a while, and he became kind of infamous on Wattpad because he was doing basically the same thing he did after Countdown, which is any criticism he responded to with an amount of like vitriol that was a disproportionate reaction, because he just had so much narcissism, and it got to the point where people fucking hated him on that site, and so they started going to Goodreads and leaving his book a 1-star review and a 1-star and like a really bad review. There was one Wattpad user with the handle Paigey Lou, and seeing the reputation Richard had built up for himself, she downloaded the prologue of The World Rose, read it, and then went to Goodreads to leave a review. And her 1-star review was brutal. She called the prologue just awful, bland, and that it bored her out of her skull. She said that he should have given his book away for free, and then she criticized everything from the characters to the cover art and said that she's appalled he's asking for money and that she wouldn't even download it for free.
Damn.
Wow.
She signed the review with her real name, which was Paige Rowland.
No, don't do that, girl. Don't do that.
And in her review, she actually says, Brittain has gained infamy on Wattpad for threatening users who don't praise him. Pray for me.
Oh, shit.
When Richard read Paige's review, it pushed him over the edge because as far as he saw it, she attacked not just his book, not just himself, but also Ella, because she attacked the character that he had created. So he searched through her social media, and it didn't take long for him to find her Facebook and locate her place of work, which ironically is the Asda supermarket in Glasgow. So he turns right back around, goes right back to Glasgow.
I don't like it.
He arrives that night, camps out, and then the next day he goes into the Asda. He picks up a bottle of white wine on his way in. He walks the aisles until he finds Paige in the breakfast aisle. She's kneeling down to stock a shelf. He walks up behind her and he hits her in the back of the head as hard as he could with the bottle of wine. He shatters the bottle.
Jesus.
Because people were they were like, what happened? Because they get there's glass everywhere, and they're like, oh, she must have hit her head. Like stocking came up and hit her head. But then they were like, she's in the breakfast aisle. There's no glass on any of these shelves.
And it's obviously smelling like wine, and there's no wine on this aisle.
So she was rushed to the hospital. She had a deep wound in her head that needed a ton of stitches. You can see the pictures of her wound.
Good God.
She recovers, and when she recovers, they have her look at the CCTV footage, and she's able to identify him from his picture on Wattpad. And he had at this point fled back to England. He eluded police for a while because he didn't have a permanent residence, so there wasn't a way for them to kind of find him. But they eventually tracked down his cell signal and arrested him. He was charged with the attack and finally at this point, charged with stalking Ella Durant. He pled not guilty and was released on bail, which I'm like, oh, that seems unsafe.
Yes, definitely.
He started seeing a psychiatrist at this time. And in the UK, they don't immediately release people's names when they've been arrested for a crime. So people had no idea that this was the same person who, at this point, Jezebel had picked up the benevolent stalker and done an article about it, and other news outlets had picked it up as well. So it went like worldwide viral, and people had no idea that he had been charged. And I went through today and looked at some of the original posts. Ella actually is on there because at this point he hadn't been convicted of anything, and she's telling them, please take this down because he don't understand, like, he's delusional and he might read this and might think that it's some kind of message that's being sent to him. So I want you to remove it.
Yeah.
And
Could you fucking imagine?
yeah, it's
honestly.
and those comments are still up. Yeah. So again, and the response to it, I don't think was what he expected. Everyone was like, what the fuck? It's an interesting thing to read. You can't find the whole blog post anymore because he's taken it down. But all of these sites have like long excerpts where you can read it. And it's interesting to get into the mind of somebody like this. But I don't think he was anticipating the response of everyone being like, this is bananas,
Right.
you know, like insane. And a lot of people were speculating that his behavior would escalate, not knowing that it already had.
Yeah.
So he wrote on his blog prolifically during this time while he was out on bail. And he was in therapy, and he wrote a blog post called Reevaluating Romance, where he seemed to acknowledge that his behavior was insane. And he was put on antipsychotics at this time. And he was like, the antipsychotics made me a better person, is what he said.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
good.
you probably did need to be on that. In November of 2015, he pled guilty on the assault of Paige Rowland and for stalking Ella, and he was sentenced to 30 months in prison and an indefinite order that prevented him from using an electronic device to monitor the movements, contact, approach, or communicate with either victim. And of course, both of the women, now they don't feel, they're both bubbly women, outgoing women, very opinionated. Paige was, they don't feel safe. They don't feel comfortable. Paige has even said that in a school environment, she doesn't feel comfortable offering critiques. And this is somebody who wanted to be a writer. And so it's difficult. In a few months before he was sentenced, he published a poem called Apology to Scottish Lou, talking about Paige. It's terrible. It is a really, really bad poem. Go look it up if you want to read it.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's terrible. Well, because I found it interesting
right now.
because it just speaks to his delusion because this poem's really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Ella led a stalking seminar where she said she felt incredibly let down by law enforcement and she couldn't believe that it took 3 years to get justice. And she said, if someone had listened to me and acted sooner, then what happened to Paige might not have happened and I would not have been subjected to as long an ordeal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she became reclusive after that. You actually can't even find pictures of her. Like, you can find pictures of Paige Rowland and, of course, pictures of Richard Brittain, but you can't find pictures of Ella on the internet. I haven't been able to
she's
find
not
anything
on social media.
No.
Yeah, she's like, nah, fuck all this.
Yeah.
Richard got out after serving just 15 months of his sentence, and he was back to posting online in 2017. He talked about, when he got out of jail, he talked about how he watched a lot of Dexter in jail. So that seems like a thing criminals shouldn't have access to.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
just don't think that's probably a good show to be showing.
No. And The World Rose, if anyone's interested, is still available for purchase on Amazon and other sites. So
Super all set.
I'm not giving him a fucking dime of my money or a minute of my time because he seems worthless.
sorry that was so long, but
It's just a lot of information.
it's a lot of stuff.
Wow. God, man, obsession
Goodness.
makes me
So
gives me a
scared.
stomach
so
cramp.
nervous.
Yeah.
Scary.
Makes me so nervous.
Well, because we back to back, we don't really have like what we're watching.
I saved.
I did too.
You saved.
I saved too.
Aw,
Yeah.
Buster Browns.
I was in Canada, in Calgary last week, and first of all, I love Canada. I love Calgary. It's actually one of my favorite cities. It's shocking to me because I've been all over Canada. I've been to Vancouver. I've been to Montreal. I've been to Toronto. I've been to everywhere. Calgary actually is the one place that I don't know if I just get lucky with the people I'm there with, but they have the best food of any place that I've been to.
I
in Canada.
fucking
It's my favorite.
now I want poutine.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm just
everybody's
starving.
got that.
Yeah,
but
I'm so hungry.
Me too. I'm so starving. But anyway, so I was there, and on Netflix, and when you're in Canada, there is a show that's called Baroness von Sketch.
I know you've been talking to us about
and it
this.
is so fucking hilarious, and it's something I'd already seen before. I've seen it in Canada before, and I'm like, I can never fucking get it in the States. Well, we just found out that you can get it on the IFC channel on demand. So
Nice.
FYI, if you have not, you must immediately, if not sooner, go watch Baroness von Sketch. It's fucking hilarious.
Awesome.
Totally. Last night, Anthony and I were like, oh, we really want to watch something scary. But of course, being me, everything that I own, and I own a lot of movies, I've seen them all. I've seen all the scary movies. So we bought Ready or Not, which is one that I had wanted to see. I'd wanted to see it like when it was being advertised because I was just like, looks
what is it?
I don't remember this one.
delightful. It came out I think in the summer, and it's like a woman who gets married. So you might have seen all the imagery where she's like in a wedding dress.
Oh,
Okay.
right. And then the family like,
Tries to kill her.
Tries to kill her.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Yes.
It is great.
I heard that it's like it's a thriller, but it's also kind of
It is a
fun.
romp.
Yeah.
It is a romp. That's the only word I can use to describe
Okay.
it. It is a thriller. I don't find it particularly like super scary, but I also think that my level of like,
Yeah.
I'm numb to
What
a
did
lot
Anthony
of things.
say?
He enjoyed it. Yeah, he enjoyed it. In the beginning, he was like, ugh, like a little nervous because he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But it's kind of silly. It's kind of like Cabin in the Woods, if you ever
Oh, I
saw
liked-
that.
I liked Cabin in the
It's kind of
Woods.
silly in that way.
Okay.
You know, and I really, really enjoyed it.
It might be
And
a
I would
daytime
recommend.
watch.
Yeah, you
Sun's
could watch
up.
it in the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're so
it was a
cute.
fun watch. I enjoyed it a lot.
I got nothing new, man.
Yeah.
That was literally my media consumption.
Yeah.
Was
You've
one
had a
movie.
busy week though.
Yeah, crazy.
Plugging along.
Yeah, well, if you have something that we should watch or you want to just reach out to us, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. You can join our Patreon, our Facebook group, or you can just reach out and say hi. And thank you so much for listening. We love you.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.